Imagine you're standing in a medieval chapel. You feel a cold breath on your neck. You turn, no one's there. Beneath your feet, a pit filled with impaled skeletons. And this is only the beginning. Behind every stone is a story, some noble, some nightmarish. If you love castles with a past, subscribe, like, and join us as we dig deeper into the top 10 most haunted castles you won't want to visit twice, where ghostly figures still roam, shadows whisper in empty halls, and some places are so cursed, even the staff refuse to enter after dark. Number 10. Pangar Fort, India. The ruins of Pangar Fort don't just look abandoned, they feel like they want you gone. Signs from the Archaeological Survey of India read, "Entering the fort after sunset is strictly prohibited." In the 17th century, this was a thriving city. One legend blames a wizard named Singiya, who, after being rejected by Princess Ratnavati, cursed the city into oblivion. Historical records confirm the city collapsed almost overnight. Entire families vanished. Visitors say the layout is disorienting. Dead-end hallways, collapsing floors, corridors that seem to breathe. Even in daylight, footsteps echo without a source, and invisible hands tug at sleeves. After dark, that's when things truly awaken. Guards report floating lights, shadowy figures walking atop walls, and music that doesn't match any known Rajasthani tune. The curse allegedly kills those who linger too long. One group of ghost hunters was found at dawn, catatonic. A man was discovered curled by the temple, hair turned white overnight. Excavations revealed eerie details, handprints on palace walls at child height, fires left burning, gold abandoned mid-transaction. The well at the fort's center is said to be the wizard's grave. Those who peer in report seeing faces staring back, not reflections, but wide-eyed visages with screaming mouths. Here, silence is more terrifying than screams. Even shadows move out of sync with the sun. This place doesn't tell stories. It keeps them trapped. Number 9. Himeji Castle, Japan. When night falls at Himeji Castle, a woman begins to count. 1, 2, 3. The voice is calm, precise, always stopping at 9, followed by a scream that chills the soul. Locals say it's Okiku, a servant girl wrongfully accused of losing a precious plate and thrown down the castle well. Her spirit never left. The well remains intact today, an ancient yawning circle in the stone courtyard. Some versions of the tale claim Okiku was tortured. Others say she jumped, but after her death the counting began, and it never ends. Night guards avoid the well after sunset. Those who don't report sudden nausea or icy hands gripping their ankles. Security cameras have captured dense fog forming over the well with no meteorological explanation. One guard recalled, "It stopped just before 10, like something was preventing the final number." Paranormal investigators claim the water channels amplify spiritual energy. Visitors describe whispers carrying across the courtyard, faint handprints appearing on stone, and the feeling that something is trying to climb out. Historical records confirm a servant disappeared during the Edo period. Restoration work in the 1900s uncovered no body, but triggered the first reported sightings of a woman in white. Oddly, the ghost's ritual is clockwork, always 9 counts, never 10. Some believe the missing 10th plate represents Okiku's unfinished business. Others believe the well itself has become a prison, holding her soul in endless repetition. Number 8. Bran Castle, Romania. Bran Castle's connection to Dracula is just the beginning. While Vlad the Impaler may have only passed through, the true horror lies deeper. Visitors report candle flames flickering in still air, breath visible in midsummer and cold spots near secret doorways. Passages once built for ambush, now echoing with whispers. In the 1970s, workers accidentally broke into a sealed chamber beneath the castle. Whatever they found was resealed immediately. No records kept. Locals still speak of tunnels stretching to nearby villages, used for smuggling or darker purposes. Castle documents from the 15th century mention special prisoners held in cells no longer on official maps. Hallways warp sound. Tourists report children's laughter in empty corridors and footsteps that follow but never arrive. One guide claimed they stopped walking, but the steps kept going. Shadows seem sentient. Darkness detaches from corners, gliding across walls even in daylight. Security footage shows blurry figures in empty wings. Most sightings cluster near the torture exhibit and Queen Marie's bedroom, where a maid reportedly took her life in the 1920s. The 1600s brought their own terrors. A guard was found dead in the courtyard, face frozen in fear. A maid vanished near the chapel, her screams reportedly heard through solid walls. Staff still avoid spiral staircases after dark. Many report being shoved by unseen hands. Most unsettling are the smells, burning wood and scorched iron, matching Vlad's methods, yet found in rooms built centuries later. Number 7. Bury Pomeroy Castle, England. Bury Pomeroy Castle holds two of Britain's most tragic hauntings. The Blue Lady and White Lady dwell in separate corners of the ruins, each tethered by sorrow and betrayal. Built in the 15th century as an elegant residence, the castle hides sinister secrets. The Blue Lady is said to be the daughter of a Norman lord who fathered her child through incest. She murdered the baby in horror and now haunts St. Margaret's Tower. A misty blue figure is often seen beckoning visitors toward dangerous edges of the crumbling ruins. Workers report tools vanishing, only to be found balanced precariously on high ledges. One crew quit entirely after repeated accidents, each preceded by sightings of a pale woman in the windows. Below ground, the White Lady haunts the dungeons. Believed to be Margaret Pomeroy, she was imprisoned and starved by her jealous sister Eleanor. Visitors report dizziness and nausea in the chambers, and investigators have captured ghostly whispers pleading, "Help me," along with the eerie sound of a crying infant. One visitor said, "I felt an overwhelming sadness, like I was in a place where hope itself had died." Motion sensors still trigger around 2 to 3 a.m., and orbs have been recorded moving against the wind. The dungeon air carries the scent of rot. Historical records confirm a family scandal, and a child's skeleton was found in the 1920s behind a wall panel. Some claim the Blue and White Ladies move in tandem, bound forever by grief and secrets their family tried to bury. Number 6. Dragsholm Castle, Denmark. During renovations at Dragsholm Castle in the 1930s, workers discovered a skeleton bricked inside a wall, still dressed in white. Historians believe it was Selina Bovles, a noblewoman entombed by her father for loving a commoner. What was once a fortress became a prison of betrayal. The White Lady still lingers, especially near the chapel where her bones were found. Witnesses describe a translucent woman in a flowing white dress, her face etched with heartbreak. One guest whispered, "Why did she look so utterly heartbroken?" The answer echoes through the halls in soft crying when no one is there. Her presence is mournful, not malicious. Some visitors report sudden warmth or calm when she appears, as if she's protecting rather than haunting. Rosewater, Selina's likely perfume, fills corridors near the east wing where her remains once rested. But not all spirits here are gentle. The ghost of the Earl of Bothwell, third husband of Mary, Queen of Scots, stomps through the dungeons where he went mad. Loud bangs, moving objects, and figures walking through walls mark his presence. Guests report unseen hands in the basement, and one housekeeper swore she saw the White Lady walk through an oak door. Ghost hunters have captured whispers in archaic Danish, matching old love letters. Thermal cameras reveal cold spots moving through secret passageways, exactly where ancient blueprints say they should be. Some leave flowers at the wall where Selina was found. Later, they see her there, silently acknowledging the gesture. Still watching. You're braver than most. Don't forget to subscribe. We're only halfway through. Number 5. Musham Castle, Austria. Musham Castle remains haunted by one of Europe's darkest episodes, the Salzburg witch trials. Between 1675 and 1690, hundreds, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft, tortured, and executed within these walls. The screams of the condemned were swallowed by the dungeons, where many died in agony. The castle's torture chambers speak volumes. Rusted shackles hang from the walls. A narrow witch's chair sits in one dungeon, where prisoners were strapped down as water slowly dripped onto their foreheads. Visitors often report sudden headaches or a crushing dread, as if the air itself remembers centuries of pain. But Musham holds an even stranger secret. During the trials, at least a dozen victims were accused of lycanthropy, believed to have turned into wolves. They were burned alive in a special cell, etched with wolf carvings. That room is now avoided after dark by staff, who report growls, scratching, and ice-cold air with no visible source. Paranormal activity thrives in the old dungeons. Sudden temperature drops, whispers in Old German, and the smell of burning flesh are common. One guest heard a voice say, "I'm innocent," before fading into silence. Motion sensors in an abandoned courtroom activate without explanation. Cameras catch hunched shadow figures pacing like they're still bound. Bones still turn up during renovations. Number 4. Chillingham Castle, England. Chillingham Castle is home to one of England's most disturbing hauntings, the Radiant Boy. His cries echo through stone corridors, followed by an eerie flash of blue light. When renovators opened a sealed wall in the 1800s, they discovered the skeletal remains of a young boy, his hands bound. He'd been buried alive. The castle's torture chamber adds to the horror. Instruments like the Iron Maiden and rack still stand, rusted but unmistakable. Visitors often feel dizzy or nauseous, as if the walls themselves soaked in centuries of agony. Some report faint moans from above, where no one stands. The castle's infamous torturer, John Sage, trapped prisoners in pitch-black oubliettes for days before questioning. The Pink Room, open to guests, is especially active. Sheets are yanked off at night. Women report their hair being tugged. One guest claimed, "I heard a child crying in the dead of night, but there were no children there." Even the Grand Hall has its share of strangeness. Place settings rearrange themselves. Portraits swing forward as if someone passed behind them. Deep in the wine cellar, guests smell old blood near ancient drains. Some believe the Radiant Boy was a rival heir, hidden and murdered. Others suspect a ritual sacrifice. The blue light before his appearances seems anything but natural. Paranormal teams have recorded ghostly whispers and cold spots that move against airflow. In the torture chamber, EVP equipment often captures a chilling 14-second scream. Number 3. The Tower of London, England. The Tower of London holds centuries of dark history, but one spirit casts the longest shadow: Anne Boleyn. Executed in 1536 on false charges, her headless ghost is still seen wandering near the Chapel Royal, where her body lies in an unmarked grave beneath the altar. Her former cell in the Queen's House is notorious for unexplained activity. Guards report sudden cold spots, echoing footsteps, and whispered Tudor English pleas. Anne's spirit is said to be active, not passive. Workmen repairing the chapel roof have suffered mysterious falls. Pages from her trial records have vanished without explanation. Incidents like these are scattered throughout the tower's history. Tools disappearing, alarms triggered with no visible cause. Other phantoms also haunt these walls: a mysterious white lady near the Salt Tower, and even a ghostly bear near the old menagerie. But Anne remains the most frequently seen, especially around the anniversary of her death. Visitors report sensations beyond sight. Some describe waves of crushing sadness near the scaffold site. One witness said, "Her eyes, even without a head, you could feel her despair." Others detect the faint scent of rosewater, Anne's favorite perfume, lingering in the air where no flowers are present. Anne's ghost was first reported nearly a century after her execution, possibly disturbed by construction. In the Bloody Tower, the sensation of being watched is so strong, it lingers even after you leave. Number 2. Edinburgh Castle, Scotland. Beneath the imposing Edinburgh Castle lies a chilling mystery that has baffled visitors for centuries. In the 17th century, a young boy was sent into the underground tunnels to map the route with his bagpipes. His music echoed through the stone corridors, then stopped. The boy was never seen again. The castle sits atop Castle Rock, a volcanic formation riddled with natural caves and man-made tunnels used for smuggling and defense. Designed to confuse intruders, the passages twist unpredictably, some still unexplored. Even today, staff and tourists report faint bagpipe notes drifting from empty staircases, always ending at the same unfinished tune. Some believe the piper was taken by something lurking in the tunnels. Others speak of darker forces, ancient sacrifices said to have been made to spirits dwelling beneath the castle's foundations. Later, the vaults were used as prisons. Thousands died in lightless cells from starvation, disease, or execution. The weight of their suffering still seems to cling to the air. Ghosts don't just haunt these halls. They linger, trapped, like echoes of despair. The castle is no stranger to phantoms. A headless drummer boy is often seen before disasters. The Grey Lady floats through the South Battery. Guides avoid certain tunnels after dark, and security cameras occasionally capture shadowy figures where no one should be. One visitor described standing at the tunnel entrance, where the piper vanished, suddenly overcome by a chill and a whisper too close for comfort. Others report smells of old candle wax or the distant hum of conversation in empty rooms. The piper's music still resurfaces on quiet nights, always fading mid-note. Maybe he's still walking, lost in the darkness, or warning others not to follow. And finally, number 1, Leap Castle, Ireland. Leap Castle is often called the most haunted castle in Europe, and for good reason. Built by the bloodthirsty O'Carroll clan in the late 15th century, its walls have soaked up centuries of betrayal and murder. The bloody chapel earned its name when one O'Carroll brother stabbed another during Mass, turning sacred ground into a crime scene. But the horrors don't end there. In the early 1900s, workers renovating the chapel discovered a hidden oubliette beneath the floor, a dungeon pit filled with human skeletons, many impaled on rusted spikes. The castle was built for violence. Secret passageways allowed killers to strike unseen. Trapdoors offered perfect ambush points. The O'Carrolls reportedly slaughtered rivals during feasts, then dragged the bodies through hidden corridors. Even now, visitors report phantom footsteps echoing after hours. The chapel remains a paranormal hotspot. Guests have heard ghostly Latin chanting and seen flickering shadows that vanish on approach. Some staff refuse to enter after dark, citing sudden cold spots and whispers from the stone itself. In 1974, a paranormal investigator claimed something ancient and malicious brushed past him in the chapel, leaving him physically sick. Others describe a heavy, unseen presence trailing behind them, accompanied by a metallic scent, like fresh blood. Local lore suggests the O'Carrolls dabbled in occult rituals. Some believe the oubliette's spikes were arranged in ways tied to Celtic sacrificial rites. Modern renovations frequently uncover human bones. Workers often quit, terrified by tools that move on their own, and figures in medieval garb who vanish before they can be confronted. Leap Castle doesn't just house ghosts. It feels like the castle itself is alive and watching. These castles show what happens when architecture collides with human darkness. Walls meant to protect became prisons for the dead. Each stone remembers the screams from oubliettes, the whispers in secret tunnels, the final breaths in execution chambers. So the question isn't if ghosts exist. Would you dare test that theory, alone, at night? If these stories gave you chills, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe for more castles where history refuses to stay buried. Drop a like if you'd visit, and a comment if you absolutely wouldn't.